I think you're overselling it. For those of you who are listening to it, I hope I live up to the expectation that we have set up. I'm like kind of humble Venezuelan. Jesus, like I never thought that would happen. Anyway, we brought Juan here for a couple of reasons. Juan was actually at the MSNBC town hall with President Obama and Jose Diaz-Balart, and we want to talk a little bit about that. We also want to talk about what Juan's doing, just get a sort of an immigration update. Because if you haven't seen Juan, it's driving me crazy how much it's changing. It's changing like to no end. And I want to give us an update. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that you are also involved with Latino Rebels. You're running the Tumblr. And we're going to tell the story about our good friend at Rachel after all that. So we got a lot to talk about. We got about 24 minutes. So let's cut right to it right now. You were in Miami last Wednesday, I believe, for the MSNBC town hall with President Obama and Jose Diaz-Balart. Can you just tell us, walk us through your impressions, who was there, what you think about it? I mean, you went, just tell us the story.
Yeah, no, that's correct. I was fortunate enough to get invited to the town hall as part of MSNBC, and it was hosted at FIU, Florida International University. The town hall is televised. You guys, for those of you who tuned in, you guys, nothing that was there wasn't televised, other than the fact that the president extended a couple of comments to the audience. But mostly the audience was very energetic and very positive. A lot of people were nodding to what the president was saying, which kind of left me with the impression that most were kind of in the same page, but in the same page in terms of DACA and DAPA, which are the executive actions that the president announced, but also in agreement that this was a monumental step, which leaves me as an undocumented immigrant, a beneficiary of DACA, worried that people think that almost like the end all be all in the terms of immigration reform come the next few years.
Right. So basically, for people that didn't see it, President Obama was, he was basically saying that, with the injunction that was happening by the Texas judge, that was going to be taken care of, and that no one needs to worry about it. They'll have to blame Republicans, and, they're shutting down DHS, and go vote. You were there, Juan. I saw it on television. It felt a little bit like a campaign. Is that true? From what you saw, I know you didn't see things on TV or whatever, but from what you saw, what you witnessed, what were people saying? Like, what were they saying during, did you talk to people after? What was the general impression about what the president had said?
Something that I mentioned to a colleague of mine after the taping was that all of you could just kind of see a general agreement as to what the president was saying in terms of at no point was there a big push, for anything else past what the president has done. For those of you who took note of the president said that he will continue to push for immigration reform, but he didn't see any and that people should be looking for 2016 candidates. So audience-wise, Julio, and for those of you listening to our audience here, is that the audience was very receptive. There was no challenge offered to the president outside of the questions that were posed to him. Primarily one the DRM member, Erika Andiola, whose case has gone national, and whose mother is currently in deportation proceedings. But outside of that, the audience just kind of seemed almost like if it was, a forum for people who agree with the president generally on this issue.
Right, so basically you believe, because there were activists there, you and other people that were critical of the president, but even talking about her in this question, it seems like, I found it to be a little bit, I don't know about you, Juan, and knowing what we've been covering for the last couple of years, but how does President Obama not know where it goes? Is it really, am I missing something here?
No, yeah. That's exactly like, it's funny you ask me that, because I just hung up with Wisconsin, and we were having a similar discussion. Erika's case is so prominent that essentially resonates with so many people at this point in time. And for the president to almost tell Erika, I don't know the specific theory case, it's almost like he's just helping to answer the tough questions, which is something that Latino Rebels have been covering, for the past few years. Is that the White House refuses to answer the tough questions when it comes to dealing with specific cases that are the perfect models for the fractured immigration.
Right, and let's just talk about Erika's case, because I think people forget that, remember when her mom when people showed up at Erika's home, right? They showed up at Erika's home and they took her mom, and I know for a fact, and I'm going to say it straight out because I guess it's just mind-boggling. I know for a fact that story that Latino Rebels wrote that night was read in the White House a couple of hours later. So it was very skeptical, and it was almost kind of surprising for me to hear that President Obama didn't really know anything about Erika's case. And I'm not trying to put Erika and Neil on this pedestal or anything. I just thought it was like something that is as high profile. Maybe we're just so close to what's going on and what people have been saying in the immigrant rights community. But that raised an eyebrow for me. I mean, that raised an eyebrow for me because I just find it really hard to believe that the White House does not know the case of Erika and Neil. That's correct. But I think something else that was especially for me that stuck out was, that the president reached out and said to Erika, after taping that he would look after her case. So for those of you following Erika's case, just like Julia mentioned, her mom is really doesn't qualify for any sort of relief on the DACA or DAPA proceedings, even though that she doesn't close the. So the question was from Erika to the president, what would happen to her mother? And bottom line is that this illustrates essentially the big catch that the White House refuses to answer is that for parents like mine or for parents like Erika who don't qualify for relief, is the White House going to deport them outside of the parameters that it has set for certain undocumented immigrants? And we have no answer to that question at all. And it'll be interesting to see what they tell to Erika's mother. Right. So not only that, but also there was another young man, and I don't recall his name, but he actually served in Afghanistan, I believe. And his mother was I don't know if she's DAPA eligible, but he asked specifically about the case, and to me, it just felt like the politics has taken over the personal stories, and the president came in with really lofty political points, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, but it just felt a little bit of a disconnect that if I would think that, let's say that that these people are going to ask the question, which I find it really hard to believe when you're 1 hour with the president on town hall and MSNBC. I really didn't think he did that good of a job trying to explain to the personal stories. And I know I'm going to get slammed about it and whatever, but it just felt like, again, it was just another example of this White House just taking this immigration issue and not focusing on the real stories that are happening. And again, I thought it was a lost opportunity by the President of the United States. Now, that's my opinion. You were there. I served as a man talking. He served in Afghanistan. He served in Afghanistan once. And he was shot at. Sorry, he was shot at. And here was his personal story. And it still felt like the only answer that the president could ask was, Republicans are bad. So what was you were there, it just felt like the vibe felt a little bit ridiculous. It's funny because I met that gentleman at the airport in Miami as I was departing, and he didn't seem, or nobody for that matter in the audience kind of got the perception that the question was even answered. If anything, all personal narratives were made with the same answer. The President of the United States, do not respond to the inquiries of personal cases. But if people don't follow my instructions on the protected control discussion, they're going to be met with certain circumstances or repercussions, which
outside of Erica, I find that he doesn't, like, as a president of the United States, granted, he doesn't have the statistics of every case, but these people that are posing the questions should have been vetted, and the president should have had at least a humane answer outside of looking like he was just delivering talking points.
Like, you would think that's my whole point. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and say that President Obama knows these cases. That's ridiculous. But you would think that the people that are preparing this 1-hour town hall on MSNBC with Jose Diaz Balart, who is, Jose Diaz Balart, he's talking about this. He's done a really good job bringing these stories. You would think that whoever was prepping the President of the United States, that they could have done a better job at least acknowledging these personal stories in a way that didn't come across as like, hey, not my problem. Because that's how I felt when I saw it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But the reaction from the crowd from where I was sitting just seemed like the president was just doing what he was supposed to do, just delivering the talking points and people were just eating them up.
Yeah, no. So let's talk about a couple of other talking points before we talk about where you think this is all going to go next. Because another thing that I'm trying to contain my critique in a way that hopefully whoever, all the 3 people that are listening to us can maybe learn from this. I thought it was really, really interesting because, as you recall, I was on MSNBC the day before, and Jose Diaz Balart asked me, hey, what questions do you want to ask? And I've always felt that, knowing what the White House did, that they made a strategic decision to not focus on immigration reform in the first term because they were focusing on healthcare, right? And so that was the question. So when Jose Diaz Balart asked President Obama that question, you got global economic crisis, and we can't do everything at the same time. And then, when it continued, because I did feel that the president was a little bit challenged by that, and he didn't give me the right answer, but when it continued, it was like, go out and vote, because you're not voting. It's all your fault. It's not my fault. It's the Republican fault. It's the fault of the American public, but it's not me. And that to me feels like it's a message that I don't think U.S. Latino voters are even thinking about. But I was surprised. Maybe I wasn't surprised that people clap at that people think that no one's voting. And I just found it to be very, very touching. But what do I do? What did you figure out? I mean, there was a very interesting crossroads of talking points there. Is one being that the president reiterated his support for comprehensive immigration reform. And he slammed Republicans saying, you had a bill, we passed it in the Senate, you held it in the House hostage, we didn't pass the bill. If you pass the bill today, I will sign it. If we fund DHS and we have a legitimate conversation on immigration, I will sign the bill. But at the end of the day, there was also no compromise in between. It was almost like you said, very campaign type of tone where it's like, you guys need to vote for the 2016 candidates that will make sure that this issue gets resolved. Which was right. I'm still trying to solve this, everybody. But I also need you to vote in the next person that's really going to solve it. And the other thing he said is like, well, things don't happen overnight. The civil rights movement took forever, and this took forever. But this is what it comes back to the point about 2008, and people keep forgetting about it. And when anyone that brings this up gets completely lambasted by anyone who would even question the strategy of the White House. Because in the reality, if you look at this from a Democratic strategy, this is all about maintaining the White House. This is all about saying, you know what, we held the White House for 8 years, and now we're going to continue to dangle this immigration reform thing and hold everything else when it comes to issues that pertain to the U.S. Latino electorate. We're going to hold everything else hostage. Because you know what? You're going to have to come out and vote 2016 because guess what? These evil Republicans are defunding, they're about to defund DHS, and we're the only ones that are going to help you pass immigration reform. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, we're are now in the 7th year of one. The 7th year. And what have we gained from? We have, you have DACA, you have the DREAM Act didn't pass, because some Democrats voted against it. You have DACA, you have DACA, which turns into Trump held up in the court. And now you have Republicans looking like fools, which, that's another story. And they're, that they have their own issues. But
so that's like the next week's show.
Yeah, this is next week's show. That's going to be the rest of the year. But my thing is, it's like, did the White House strategically make a mistake in the first term when it came to immigration reform? My argument is yes. And why should they at least admit that? That's my thing. It's like, if the President of the United States has said, you know what, we decided to go to healthcare reform, we had the political capital to push comprehensive immigration reform, but we didn't. You know what? Because we wanted to win 2012 because we knew that that's going to keep you guys voting. And you can say whatever you want. The other thing is, if the president passed that executive order before the 2014 elections, it would have been a different outcome. We would have talked about Colorado being different. It would have re-energized it, because what's happening now is the President of the United States of America is actually acting like someone who should have led like this 2 or 3 years ago, because he has nothing ever done.
Well, I find it that is very real from my point of view, Julio. Again, looking back to the town hall, the president said that Democrats or Republicans are not playing games with immigration reform. It's just the Republicans, not the Democrats. Which to me was, at that point I couldn't help but laugh, because all I can think back to was in 2010 when the president and the Democratic Party couldn't get their caucus order and push 5 Democrats to pass the DREAM Act. We failed the DREAM Act by 5 Democratic votes. So it's not just, a left or right issue. It's that both parties are to be held accountable for the reasons and the mess that we're in today. The Department of Homeland Security chances to defund that, we passed an expansion in a week, and we still don't have a solution because the president decided to act on something that he promised that he would do in the first 100 days, which those are far long gone from now.
Right, and my thing is, why can't the White House and why can't Democrats use it? I think it's a message boy. I think it's it never hurts to just be like, hey guys, you know what? We decided to go to healthcare reform. We didn't want to take everything into account. We knew we needed to win 2012, and we're going to go this different direction. We're not. That's the thing that it's like, and then you wonder why Latinos aren't voting.
It's a fear of the narrative that somehow I'm going to get offended, or that I'm going to get ridiculed by that. And the truth of the matter is that if the White House came out with a narrative, it's not any different from the reality, because that is legitimately what happened. And people know that. I think they will gain points by admitting that, we have political capital to move on to. We decided to go with this one and not with that one, but we're sure as hell going to go for immigration reform next time. And I don't know what kind of assurances they have to make, but I think the narrative in expressing that to anyone, whether it's the Jorge Ramos or the Diaz Malar, whether it's a blog post on the White House website, I think that would do a lot of good in plain terms, and utilizing that as almost like a promise that the next person, hopefully whoever that may be, can leverage that as an issue, and setting it up, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, just setting up the stage to make sure that the legislative fight that's going to be taken up by the next person.
Right, so we're talking about one Escalante who's passed the town hall. We're going to talk about a couple of things, but just to put a bow tie on this, because it's one of those things, it's like, if people just admitted to things, and you say what you want, but the reason why they're not admitting to this is because you have a Republican Party on the other side that I don't even know what they're doing right. It is like, what is going on with immigration, the Republicans? What has happened? And it's almost like the Democrats are saying, you know what, we don't really have to do anything because we got these guys like trying to defund the Department of Homeland Security and every other thing a voter knows. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, even if Jeb Bush ran, he's lucky he's going to get 30% of the vote right now in the general election, the way this is going. Because didn't Jeb Bush, I mean, say more about, because he was at CPAC, and he seemed to stand with comprehensive immigration reform, but at the same time, he's kind of distanced himself from what President Obama has done with the executive order. So, what do you think about Jeb Bush right now, who at the time, a year ago, was saying, it's all about immigration and love, and let's all love each other. And now, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day that he knows that is a wedge issue that the right is going to try to hammer him on, and he is trying to do the whole Marco Rubio dance, right? Like, I say one thing to one audience, and I say another thing to another audience, but at the end of the day, I'm thinking about my guns, which is a very ambiguous, definition of where my stance is on immigration reform. So, it's smart, but at the same time, it doesn't do any favors to capture that population that the Republicans is so eager to support, which is minorities, Hispanic, Latinos, immigrants, first and second generation. Because when you follow the issue this closely, especially leaving a president that didn't follow through with his promise of comprehensive immigration reform, you are going to bet that this is going to be a big issue. And for Jeb Bush, he needs to be defiant. It's either that he says, these are my beliefs, and I don't care what feedback or the extremist wing of my party says, I'm going to stick to this, or you don't. But you can't pretend to play down the middle and expect people to ignore it. That is not the only result you're going to get from that. You're going to hear this going to blow up in your face.
Yeah, I think people are way too informed right now. I mean, that's the thing. It's like people know this scoop, especially the U.S. Latino voters know this scoop. And anyone that thinks that you can just get up and say, hey, si se puede, yes, that's all gone, man. It's all gone. Like, that was 7 years ago. It's done. It didn't happen. And if the truth is not being spoken, and people don't want to hear that, because they're clinging to this fear, it's like Democrats good, Republicans bad. That really is just, that only goes so far. And I just find it fascinating because I do think that when all was said and done, everyone was like hopeful that the CIR was going to pass, but it's not going to happen, guys. It's not. My prediction was 2022. Like, I really believe until the congressional districts change, this fight's going to go on for the next 8 years.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't actually think that's a fair assessment. I think at the end of the day, what will end up happening is that DAPA and DACA extended will be upheld, and that they won't be rejected by the court. And hopefully, what will end up happening is that there's another brief expansion, between now and 2022, to allow another category of independence.
And we're just going to be living in this sort of limbo until congressional districts start changing. I mean, that's my guess. Okay. No, I mean, you're not wrong. I don't think you're that is very fair. Well, listen, before we let you go, we're talking with Juan Escalante, who actually immigrant rights activist, from Venezuela, based in Florida, just very active social media rock star. But has been running our Tumblr. You've been running our You messaged us 2 weeks ago, and you're like, you know what? You were like, Julio, your Tumblr page, like the Latino Rebels Tumblr page sucks, and I want to take it over. And so I was like, awesome. So you guys get it going on. Yeah, no, wait, the thing is, I'll be honest with you. Like, I check it, and I'm like, oh my god, all we needed was just someone to pay attention to this, and now people are reading us on Tumblr. But tell us, close with the story about when you were leaving the town hall, you're checking your phone, and then you shared with the group the fact that you were quoted in a the story. So please tell us that story. And this is why I think it's hilarious. So
Yeah. Well, I landed in the Atlanta airport. And I get an email saying, "Hey, you've been recorded in freight market." So for those people who are not familiar with the outlet, it's a very conservative, website. And they took my their story about the town hall, saying that this was just another way for the president and the Democratic Party to spread propaganda of immigration reform and whatnot. And the way that they cite me, it's just one, no journalistic responsibility to look up my name. Entirely. So
you're like a Brazilian soccer star.
I guess so. I must have ownership on the name, like Madonna. But it is this one, I think, quotation mark that says Latino Rebels Tumblr editor. So again, it's just a very flimsy article about, essentially, whatever what happened at town hall. But the way they frame it is almost like Latino Rebels is like this, machine that just is another talking for the president, where in reality,
we're just about, getting paid by the White House.
Yeah, and that's what we have to show. No, it was very comical to me, because it's funny how people who inherently disagree with you will go ahead and use your message, because obviously nobody that they couldn't get anybody from their camp to be invited, or they couldn't quote anybody from their camp that was present, and they just put this whole new dimension into who you are, what your perception is, and ultimately what you think. So, to me, the whole thing was hysterical, just because, they could have done a little bit better to clean up, what exactly their point was regarding.
Yeah, exactly. I made it sound like the way they set it up, which is typical Braveheart, and, this is what they do, and it's fine. We're more than happy with the fact that they quoted us. The fact that they actually think we exist means that, we're doing good things. But they make it sound like, Juan, you're not even, Juan the blogger, was brought in by the White House to sit in the front row and tweet. And what was really ridiculous about that story was they really have not read anything that, you've written, or other people have written, or I've written, about how you hold both parties accountable, and how there's been such a lack of a disillusionment with the president, with the White House, with Democrats. And it's changed a little bit. I mean, I think it's, in all fairness, we said, hey, have the executive order and people are going to come back. And I think that's what's happened. And I think right now what's happening now is that because of the injunction and other things, people are kind of in a wait-and-see mode. So I'm not trying to sit here and say, the president, they did things that they should have done a year ago that they're doing now, and it's paying off. But at the same time, I mean, we're coming into the 7th year, and every Latino I know, every Latino I know, online person I know, or people that I know in the community, that the Si Se Puede, like I said, the Si Se Puede motif it's not that big right now. To roll that out, or to think that's going to give people excitement again, that's not even going to happen. I think Democrats have to really look at true outreach for Latinos now, and I think that's happening. I think you're going to see a Latino vice presidential candidate. It'll be Julian Castro. It's very likely. And I think it's going to be a very interesting, very interesting thought to suggest that Juan, the blogger, is sitting here as a mouthpiece for the White House was just ridiculous. And I made a point to let them know, because you've been doing such a good job for us, that I made a point to let them know. And I reached out to them, and I emailed them, which I always do with them. Guess what? They haven't responded yet. So, but people are going, hopefully they'll listen. Hey, listen, Juan is kind of thing. We really appreciate you on. We're going to bring it back. Let's just kidding me. This is not going away in 2016. It's just starting. So we're going to bring you. You're going to be not only a Tumblr editor, you're going to be a political analyst by all said and done. And we got a couple more minutes left next time as well. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for the invite, and thank you all for listening. Alright, abrazo, Juan. Cuídate. Saludos. Alright, that was one. That was one comment. And we are just driving from one, and we're going to Cesar Rogers. Yes, Cesar Rogers. Cesar, you there?
Hola, Lucas.
Hey, how are you, man? So, I just spent about a half hour with one, and now we're going to shift. We're going to dramatically shift gears here. We're going to go from immigration to perhaps, in fairness, the last 2 days, perhaps the most intense internet story in the Latino digital space that has to do with Michelle Rodriguez, actor, Fast and Furious franchise actor. I have my theories about all this actor, but I really want you to talk to us, Cesar Rodriguez, about this whole, like, how did this all happen? Walk us through where you learned from it from public, because we actually got it. You shared it with me, and we started sharing it. So, how did this all start with Michelle Rodriguez? So, like, how did it blow up in the last day and a half?
Well, thank you for having me again for your show. What happened with Michelle is I don't know if it's kind of, most people know. No, I don't think anyone knows that that's not excessively, they're thinking of bringing it out because of Batman and Superman and Dawn of Justice movie and all that. And they're thinking of including one of the rumors that they want to have a Green Lantern in there. And Batman has done some blogs that mention that they want Michelle to play a Green Lantern because there is more better ability to control Jessica Cruz than she has at the Latino. And one of and I guess she's not liking that angle that they're going for. And when a TNC member asked her, what do you think about the rumors of I don't know if everybody saw the video of
she came out of the club. Yeah, she said something. She goes, she basically is like, don't feel white people superheroes, right? And she definitely said that was Friday night. I think that was Friday night or whatever, Saturday morning in LA, and it goes viral. You post on Facebook and you go on your Cesar Vargas way, and which was great. And so she does that, right, on TFD, and that's on LatinoRebels.com. But then, probably, I would say like 6 or 7 hours later, she does a Facebook video, right? It got 2 million views, right? So it was supposed to be an apology. What did she say in that?
Well, she didn't really apologize. She reiterated what she said during the video, which is calling us, a cartoonist and writers lazy, and that we need to write our own stories. But we have to write our own story beyond. So I don't even know if she gets that from at all. She's the Illuminati as well. To hear her say something like that. Let me just tackle this whole Green Lantern thing, because I think she did. I love when you get Kiki. I love when you get Kiki and comic bookie. This is good, man. She's completely wrong. She does have a slight point, but she's the way she's putting it out there is wrong, and she's ignorant about several things, which is, for instance, the Green Lantern. Anyone who has nothing to do with race, anyone that was the ring of the it's a Green Lantern. There's a black Green Lantern there are idiots who are Green Lanterns. So, I don't even know why she would get upset over it. Right. And for the Spider-Man, for instance, she's called. It was the Spider that did Peter Parker, and Black Spider, Black somebody else. Why would anybody say, that other person might be, are spiders going to be, I don't want to call it racist, but are they going to be bigger? Bigger than they're going to be, oh no, I'm only going to fight white guy. That is, and when you get that first, and there are writers that's writing, there are some writers of color elsewhere. Leather or actors, but saying that he's not like he's been doing his own thing for eons, you know. So that, yeah, to me, don't call it safety. Don't call it safety. And then I think white guys role when white folks have been deserving culture, content, stories, because they've seen roles from African American historical figures. Why is that not more of an issue compared than having a Hispanic or a black person playing a superhero? I don't know exactly in mind-boggling why. And she's going to, come on, don't call Latinos lazy, man. Don't call black people lazy. Don't call it lazy. Because she's in a franchise that is the same thing. How many movies are already for Seven? Why did she criticize the writers of her own franchise? Why did she criticize the executives? She said, don't put the onus on the lying people that don't have the power and the means to create these stories. And listen, I wrote a screenplay about a Latino superhero. I don't see the Latino ethnicity of people said, but if you have $100 million, just reach out to me, and I'll create a freaking story. And I'll put it out. And there are hundreds of thousands, I don't know if there are hundreds of thousands, but I know there are hundreds of Latino and black and women and Asian and Native American writers that have created their own mythology or their own characters that are not getting funded. And Hollywood is saying that, okay, those characters, like those characters are not relatable to a wider audience, which is BS, because now there are studies showing right now that diversity sells. And the current franchise that's making a lot of money is getting that and sharing that. So it's just it's mind-boggling.
You know, so let's talk about mythology. One of the things in her video, right? So she does the TMZ video, and let's bring up the fact that the guy who did the TMZ video was kind of like, oh, this is so awesome. Like, this is awesome, Michelle, which, you know, and you wrote a piece for Flexers Latino, we're going to talk about that. So let's keep focusing on what she said on the video, where she said, you need to create your own mythology, right? Because that's basically what she said. That our stories, like, we're sitting here going, we don't have anything to talk about, so let's go to the white superhero and let's demand that, you know, Superman is Latino, whatever, Mexican, whatever, right? And I found that point to be so, that's the point where I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, that's the end of the disconnect.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm making.
I mean, the mythologies are out there, the stories are out there. I mean, it's not lack of stories.
It's not. I don't think there are. You know, I know.
Right. It makes it sound like we're sitting here. Right. It makes it sound like we're sitting here and saying, we need to get into Hollywood. Oh, maybe we should come up with our own story. Oh, that's a good idea. Because that's what we're supposed to do. Right? And you're sitting here going, I mean, how out of touch are you? I mean, seriously, how out of touch are you? And what?
That's exactly what it is. She has been oblivious of being so many years surrounded by people in Hollywood, especially. It's not just a show that's coming from that angle. There are, you know, for instance, there are African American celebrities that are being called accused of being the new black, which is they're out of touch with our community because they've been so overprivileged for such a long time. And not only that, I don't think they're reading or reading studies or material from African American or Latino women scholars that are saying, look, there's a colorblind myth. There's a colorblind myth, right? You know, so don't. People are being judged based on the race. You know, people do care about people's race, even though you say, you know, they're biologically we see other people's race. So our brains react differently. You know, like white folks, for instance, can feel more pain when they see a white person suffering more than they would see an African American suffering. And that matters for this. shown on the movie. It's a concept that those biological, because it's real. It has this value. It is real that when we see other people from our own ethnicity, from our own race, we feel more than we understand their pain, right? And when they're shown on a big screen, the way to combat that is to show people of different colors, of different religions, of different ethnicities and sexes, and show in a perspective that it's not always just negative, because that's what, gets into us, like, even Latinos, even our own Latinos and African Americans, we see that, and we internalize those ideas and those stereotypes that they're throwing back at us. And I think when it came from that, okay, yeah, our stories need to be shown, and they're not going to make money, but the way that she went about it, it's not on us. It's not, if we don't have the means to do it, then don't blame it. If she has the means, she has access, to people that can actually do that. So she should go and speak to others that and say, hey, listen, I have this person here that's a writer, Latino writer, and you don't tell me that this is not going to make any money, because, you guys funded and promoted excellence, for instance, played by Kristen Bale, who's a white guy, playing somebody that's supposed to be brown, and that's that. So there's no excuse right now. And there's movies and TV shows that have minorities, color, diverse cast. It's getting, they're selling out. They're making money. So there's no excuse there. That's all there. I'm sorry to be right.
No, you're good. But you raised a really good point about negatives, and before we move on to your piece and other things, but it's really interesting because I'm starting to watch House of Cards right now, and what's really interesting about House of Cards season 3 is that the Republican challenger to Frank Underwood is named Nancy Nosa, and he's a people, and he's smart, he's political, he's sharp, he's I wouldn't say genius, but he's political, right? And here you are watching this character, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'll root for Espinosa, because I don't see Espinosa's on a Netflix original series in this capacity. I see Espinosa as the gangbanger, as the gardener, comic relief. I don't see him as the guy that's going to challenge the Kevin Spacey character and freak out Frank Underwood, right? So that to me is where I say, well, that's good, right? That's good.
I completely agree. I completely agree. I completely agree. When it comes to, it's not, I'm not saying that we shouldn't play the bad guys, right? But if you're going to make the bad guys, make the complex characters, like the way you have a Dexter, a serial killer, Frank Underwood. I like House of Cards. He's not a swell guy. This guy is brutal. He's a sociopath. He's not a friend. He's a psychopath. He's killing people, and he doesn't even care just about that. But he's likable. We root for him, even though he's an evil guy. So I don't mind if the Latinos are portrayed as ambiguously good or bad characters. Because that, as long as we're not either good or either bad, as long as we're not either one of those things, then I'm good. As long as we're in the middle, as being portrayed as a complex character. Because human beings, we are human beings at all, and we're not serious. We are complex human beings. We are capable of doing great things, and we are capable of doing kind evil things.
Right. So listen, we're talking about Cesar Vargas, and someone actually just tweeted Latino Rebels because Lalo kind of just did a cartoon about. I'm not even go to Latino Rebels Twitter. You got to check it out. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that type of critique of Michelle Rodriguez, but I will say one thing. Talking about before we get into your Fox Latino opinion pieces, which I really want you to break down. But think about the timing of this, right? So TMZ does this on Friday. Yeah. She does a video incredibly quickly because you know why? You know what's coming out April 7th. It's Fast and Furious 7, right? And Fast and Furious, when you look at the great franchises, great series in Hollywood. As crazy and as, I would say it's highbrow entertainment. Fast and Furious is definitely popcorn entertainment. Yeah. But everyone says, Fast and Furious series is the series that the diverse audiences eat up. Right? Yeah. Because they're spending up with them. So I don't think it's a coincidence that, you go from TMZ to her. To be honest, you're getting slammed. More Michelle Rodriguez got slammed more by African Americans, by blacks, than she did by Latinos. And we're going to talk a little bit, and I want you to talk about that right now. But it's interesting, talking about the timing. Within 6 hours, she had a video up on Facebook, and is trying to sort of backtrack it.
Yeah, I think that's following her around because, the news going to come out, and it seemed like she was coming out of somewhere. I don't know if she can drink it or not, but it sounded to me, and I could be wrong, and I think they already know that she's running. She's had a few run-ins before, and they wanted to catch her on the spot. Hollywood is a machine, and when it comes to tabloids or something, whatever comes out right now, whatever's hot, they're going to be following those people, those celebrities, and when they think that they're going to get something juicy, like exactly like that, and it helps you put film there, it helps you put publicity, and I don't, for her, the thing is that when she said, and then she went to apologize, which was not an apology. That's the whole thing. Okay, it was a non-apology. She sort of she went off, elaborating and why she thinks that we're lazy. That she called us lazy. That's exactly what she said. We're lazy. Yeah. And we're lazy. I have a friend in teaching that getting a doctorate right now in education. So big up to Latino getting their degrees. He's saying that the angle that she took that we're not being creative goes back to being lazy as well. That we're not putting that extra, that we're not going that extra mile, which is ridiculous. I mean, I know so many people like that. Yeah, it's just something. It's not. I mean, I find that to be professionally so. And black people, when you do what I do, what other people do, it's not just about Latinos, it's just minorities in general. And black people, those are, black people is the last entity that I was going to get angry. I want to you don't mess with black Twitter, man. You know that you're wrong. And listen, if they're white trolls, we come from the digital. You and I come from social media space, where that's what we think, and if there are white trolls, white racists that agree with what you're saying, then you might want to reconsider your opinion and why they're agreeing with you, and people of color are upset with you. Although there are some who are, there are a lot actually who do agree with her, but that's because they're appealing to authority, and the appeal to authority is that because she's a celebrity, whatever she says stops us. And then we have to be careful when we have, especially in this culture, we worship celebrities. So they can say whatever ignorant out there, and there are people that really get help. And that's why, there is so much racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, because there are certain people in the media saying things, people that are celebrities saying things that can potentially hurt, and they do hurt minorities and people of color and other people, and people that are gay, they're getting beat up somewhere or getting killed. You have to be careful, if I was a celebrity, if I'm up at that, I'll be careful about the things I say that it's not gonna hurt the people, especially not just the black, it's just people in general. They could be white people, African Americans, Asian, people in general. I'll be careful about that. But what she said is going to hurt us because there are people who are bringing her. So next time there's going to be an actor that needs to know like she is continuously getting gold. You know what I'm saying? And also want to hire an African American or an Asian or Latino, and hopefully that doesn't happen. And if she talks about being roles from people. People have a huge burden of seeing supporting roles from African American men as being this tough character. She's being impacted. Maybe she's proud of being impacted. You know, and she was going to be a tough person.
Right, no, but the thing is, what's interesting about the critics, because, you know, you wrote a piece for us, but, you know, you're basically saying, well, you wrote the piece, so we're not going to go into it, you're sharing a lot of points. But one of the things that we've heard, and I shared this with a couple of you know, when we were prepping for the show, was, you know, well, she's successful, so you're knocking down her success. And, you know, you guys, you know, well, Julio, you know, you're the founder of Latino Rebels, and you're just all a bunch of guys, which is untrue, because tomorrow, you know, on Monday, we're going to have a really amazing response by one of our top Latino contributors. But what's interesting is the critics say, you're attacking our success, and you're being sexist. And that's where I kind of lose the logic in all this. Because I think that when people say that, it's kind of like, they got nothing else.
Those are poor arguments. Those are weak arguments. It's one, our people we're not infallible. Our celebrities are not infallible. So if they say something ignorant, if they say something wrong, if they say something racist, if they say something that's going to hurt our own community, then we have to call them out on that. You know, and that's the reason why many times we get accused of being mediocre, being insane, because we defend certain things that we shouldn't be defending from our own people. That's a different. Come on, don't get me. We need platforms. We need Latino Rebels. I mean, in order to support our actors, to support our community, to uplift them, right? You know, because I'm not even the same amount of time from the general market.
That's what you said in the column. You said that in the column, which that was the one that resonated with me. It's like you wrote your piece, Michelle. Why don't you help raise people up, as opposed to basically saying forgetting where you come from. All right, I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you know what you're saying. But when you say uplift, because I read the piece and it was almost like, you know, we have people in the group who were astounded by what she said. They were fans of what she does. They've seen all the Fast and Furious films. They're very supportive of her. You know, Philly Valley, you know, what she's done. So it's almost like, wow, like you broke my heart, Fredo. I mean, that's how it feels.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I'm still.
And you said that in the piece. You're kind of like,
I'm not gonna go ahead and say, oh, she's Latina, but if I like the film or I like the premise, I am going to go and watch the film. If she's there, then I'll watch it. I'm not gonna stop, you know, supporting her because of what she said. You know, she is Latina. She is one of us. You know, but she was wrong. She was wrong in what she said and the way she said it. You know, and I do understand that she meant in a way, you know, that she wants our stories to be told from. That's the only answer. That's the only point that she has that is correct. But it's not our fault that those stories are not being told.
Yeah, the stories are there. But, you know, Sean Rodriguez, yeah, right, we're right here. We're a tweet away. You want some projects? We got 20 of them. I mean, you ready to change? You want mythologies? We got 20 of them. But if you accuse somebody else,
the thing is that I just see the feeling, you know, that like I wrote on Facebook, you know, a lot of people were talking about that. One, white mythology and white stories, you know, they're amalgamated of all the stories that they stole from other ethnicities, other cultures, other religions, and not just from right. You know, and they're playing some characters. There's an Australian playing a Wolverine, you know, and the Wolverine is Canadian. Why don't you have an issue with that? There's an English playing Clinton, Abraham Lincoln. Why don't you have an issue with that? He's not an American, you know, and we are going to go that angle, go all the way in there, not just with the people that don't have the means and the power to actually make a difference. Right? She has the means and power. And then do something about it, you know, instead of putting it on it with people like that.
And I will say, she does say that at the end of the video. It says, well, you know, I am also going to take this challenge. So I would like to end the conversation as Michelle Rodriguez is listening, I doubt it. Maybe she will when we write about it tomorrow. Do you want to say that?
She has done, I think, that she made into like a public drama. She was the one that funded it or not. But she was in
I'm like, there's
Trópico de Sangre, de eso, ¿no? Hermanas Mirabai,
keep doing it. Yeah, keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, here,
she has done people that recorded it. So don't be a type of the head while you're doing it, you know. And then the thing is like, okay, but I'm getting involved and I'm going to do this project. So if that sounds like that narcissistic to me, that I'm going to be the one, I'm going to be the savior. If you guys are not doing it, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to, you know, come on. There are other people outside of your circles, outside of yourself, you know, and we have to do a little bit just like showing the people out of things that are like that.
Yeah. Well, listen, Cesar Vargas, really appreciate your time. Uplift, Cesar Vargas 365. We're going to bring you back. We got to get you. I got to get you out of town with me, man. We got to get together, see each other, you know, live. You share a lot. You do a lot of great work for our community. Patch's opinion piece on Marxist Latino. It is definitely the hottest story of the Latino digital space. I don't think it's going away. And I hope a real conversation comes out of this. And, you know, there's a lot of smart people that aren't lazy who are more than happy to shed some light on the issue. And I just want to thank you, Cesar, to sort of, you know, taking the torch and running with this. Your Facebook updates the last 2 days have been spot on. So,
yeah, let me just say one final thing. You know, I don't hate her. I don't have, you know, people, there are people that are accusing me of being, you know, sexist or calling me on social names. And I'm not trying to bring her down. I want her to come around from what she said. And regard.
Just a little bump in the road. She'll come back. She'll come back because, I think you're right. So listen, Cesar, we really appreciate your time and we'll stay in touch. Much love, brother. All right. That was Cesar Vargas. A really interesting conversation. So we had one of our Cesar Vargas. We will have Shadi Spaghetti next week. We'll be talking other issues. If she's analysis without a producer, I guess my producer, but we're going to keep at it. Latino Rebels Radio is Sunday, March 1st. If you have anything to share with us about the show, tweet us at Latino Rebels. You can tweet me at Rudico77. You can also go to Latino Rebels on our Facebook site. Let us know what you thought of the show. We're going to put it up on our site, LatinoRebels.com tomorrow. We'll probably pull some quotes from Caesar. And just let us know and spread the word. And we really appreciate your support and keep at it. Stay here, baby. We're going to close out with La Plebe. Venas Abiertas. Get out of here.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.